Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, um, so there's a bit of an irony here what I talked about earlier today when it came to uh, Kim Davis's appeal to the Supreme Court to, you know, have a second look when it comes to Obergefell v. Hodges, as far as that goes. So, anyways, um, there was one of those things that they had under. I'm trying to remember what who had uploaded there, but it was simply because of the whole thing with AI. Because of ChatGPT and all the other AI models of people already having AI relationships and all of that, and then eventually, like whether there's gonna have like relationships with, you know, robots or androids as far as that goes because of where they would just have love bots. But it was like a thing that they had on a lot of those TV shows, whether it's The Simpsons or Futurama, because especially that one episode of Futurama where Fry had dated uh, Lucy Liu Bot, so that was one of the things there, and then of course when it came to The Simpsons, um, it was an episode where where it was where it was a Christmas episode in the future at that point, and where Patty and Selma had love bonds. So, and then in the end of the episode, the both love bots ran away with each other as far as that goes. So that was just one of the things that was just funny about that there. But in a way, not only that, there was also that episode of Futurama, and I think it was called Proposition Infinity. I think that's what it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that was the one where Amy and Bender ended up having a relationship at one point, you know. And then, of course, they were making fun of Prop 8 in a way, as far as that goes. So, anyways, um, so when it comes to that, it reminded me of I forget I forget one of those Ask Reddit stories where they said about like, and this was like way back in 2019, where when they had the OK Boomer um, trend meme, whatever it was, there going on, and it was somebody that said like, what about like, what would it be like as far as when it comes to like OK Millennial thing, and then there was one about uh, where he said like, no, you can't marry your AI or your robot or whatever it was, and I was making that same joke like, again, like, whether if it's gonna be like, you know 10, 15 years from now, and then uh where some of us would hold signs like marriage two people only, or marriage two humans only, or something like that, you know because of a lot of those things there. And in a way, it was just like how it was when it comes to Detroit Become Human, and and then of course it was the trailer Kara, which was supposed to be for Detroit Become Human, and especially when it came to when Kara recites her initialization text, and where she says, no need to feed me or charge me in a quantum battery. I'm gonna use it at your disposal and as a sexual partner. you know, of that sort. But and in a way, it was like the Tracys that were in the nightclub. You know, there were the androids that had functional genitalia as far as that goes. And then that one um, deviant, her name was like North, was one of those type of uh, of androids. And then there's a scene, if I recall correctly, where it was were one of these two androids. I think they were the two Tracy models or something that left, and then one of them was telling I think she was telling like Connor about that they had to leave, and you know, because of they were better for a better life and all that, you know. And then the fact that it was one of the other Tracy's that was, you know, like part of the like I keep forgetting what the thing was called that powered them, because the thing that powered them was got disconnected and they had to reconnect it there. And then where she had said to Connor where she wanted that human to stop because the the human was interested in just the whole what is called pref play, and that is just a form of like erotic asphyxiation, and that was like one of those things that it's a huge no for me, a huge no, because you can't be, you know, it's like if if I remember correctly, there was like a correct way of doing it, but some people just, you know, like the thrill of putting someone's life on their hands, and then you know, that's what happened, because there were people that died accidentally, especially that whole story about that I think it was like in the late, it was sometime around like in the early to mid 90s, about these gay men that died over in Indianapolis, I think, and then it turned out to be this guy who liked to do that sort of stuff, and then that was what happened there. So, anyways, I'm trying to think about what was the other stuff there. Oh yeah. So when it came to all of that, I mean, it's still in the realm of possibility when it comes to like all that, you know, that we might have people that have, you know, android spouses or something like that, or love bots in the future and all of that, you know, for whatever reason it is. And that was kind of like one of my VO3 videos where it was like the my waifu robot, I think that's what it was called. And that was kind of it's supposed to be like on one of those type of like show, like it's every purpose it could be like I Dream of Jeannie, or one of the shows that was like that, or Bewitched, but then having more of like that, more of a modern, maybe a little bit of like the early 90s aesthetic there, where the guy has an android wife of that sort, and then the guy is supposed to he's supposed to be like your stereotypical neckbeard kind of thing, and that's kind of like how it is with him. And so, I'm trying to think the other stuff there. You know what I mean? But I think as for me, I think that I'd rather have an actual person and all that because of that. Because after all, I think it was the thing there with me. It was like when it came to like any of the guys that I've been with, it was just feeling their feeling their skin, the body hair, and their hair, and then the way they touch me and all of that. And that's not going to be comparable to actual an android like that. But it was. I'm trying to remember. It was. It was way back then. I think when I watched that whole. What was it like? Real. I think that was like on Cinemax or was that HBO? HBO, but it was one where they had the real sex thing that they had back then, and where that one. It was a guy that made like these life size dolls at that point, like that, and then where a guy had also had done a comparison with his girlfriend or wife, and then he said like, well, it does actually feel like the real boob and nipple and all of that, you know, as far as that goes. And then I'm trying to remember the other thing, and but that was one of those shows that I also watched in secret at the time, because back then I wasn't even 18 yet, but still, I think they did have like a lot of other shows like that on Cinemax, or was it Showtime? I'm trying to remember exactly, but you know, or was it HBO? I'm trying to remember. So, anyways, I guess that's probably it. So, talk to you guys later.